Hello, it's 4:30 in the morning, and it's Ren Presents time. I'm your host, Ren, and today we continue with the sixth turn of the Shadow Tech Goddess, subtitled Cat, Part 1, Four Sisters, Chapter 5, The Ghost. Moving right along, in our last foray, Cat linked up with her three sisters, gave them names: Bird, Walker, and Wheel. Very simple but utilitarian names. Bird and Walker seemed delighted with their new surroundings on Cana, and like Cat, had no intention of going through with the mission the Black Hats had sent them on. They were keen to explore and discover this new world, and to be free from the Black Hats, which sending them across the cosmos afforded them the luxury of being. One of them, though, Wheel, was intent on fulfilling the mission and becoming a Black Hat. She disappeared into the sinister depths of the catacombs and was not seen or heard from again. This is a fairly short chapter today. We are getting close to the end of the first part. After this one, there are 2 more chapters, and then we proceed to part 2. So, enough of all that hubbub. Let's dig in, shall we? Part 1, Four Sisters, Chapter 5, The Ghost. Cat tore across the ruins, running like an animal, spine flexing, her Shadow Tech claws biting into the earth and kicking up grass and bits of stone, her tail following like a sail. Overhead, black wings flapping, Bird came down in a graceful dive, her goggles seated on her face. She reached out, trying to grab hold of Cat's tail on the fly. Cat darted to her right, effortlessly changing directions, and Bird missed, soaring back into the sky. Walker followed in huge strides, covering the ground fast, her giant Shadow Tech legs moving like massive pendulums. Cat moved in between Walker's giant legs, cutting in and out, running rings around her. Though Bird flew across the sky and Walker was strong and beautiful, neither was as fast as Cat. They reached the outskirts of the ruins, near the now familiar statues, where the dreaded doors beyond spoiled the sunshine. Cat skidded to a stop. She rolled over onto her back, laughing and panting. She looked up at the statues and fancied the notion that one of the male statues resembled the man from her photo. She sat next to the statue sometimes, leaning against it. She cleaned the vegetation from its stand. Bird even caught her talking to it once. "Why do you talk to the statue?" Bird asked as she landed. She lounged in the tall grass and absently twisted its long blades together, her goggles glorious on her face. She didn't need them much anymore for protection against the sun. She simply favored them. "I ask him why he's not here yet. The gods promised him to me. I tell him I want him here. I tell him to obey me, for he is mine. I think love is with him." Walker was curious. "Love is with the man? Do you understand men?" "No." Walker laughed. "Men are difficult to understand and impossible to make sense of. If love is with this man, then it is something that will make no sense. Perhaps this man lives in the city of love. Here is some knowledge. All men can be controlled if you determine what they want. All men want something, and when you know what it is, you shall command them." Cat was burning for more of this knowledge. How do you learn what they want? Ask questions. Ask many questions. Force them to answer. Eventually you shall know. Cat was amazed. She would never forget what Walker shared with her. Bird toyed with her decorations, her hair brown like the trees, her neck obscured with self-made decorations, her hands smelling of soap. Walker's hair was blue like the sky, long and flowing. Cat liked it much better than her own cloud sun color. Bird had managed to remove all the snarls and kinks from her hair. It now moved and flowed unvexed, like Walker's. All of them laughed, casting their shadow tech aside, their skill with it having grown by the day. They practiced all the time, concentrating, forcing the river of it from within their bodies to move at their command. All trial and error, all by guesswork and happenstance, each sharing their newfound knowledge. To their amazement, their skill appeared to grow, to become more precise. Controlling shadow tech got a little easier with each session. Cat could soon form her claws and tail at will and get rid of them just as quickly. Bird could form her dark wings, and Walker could lift herself nearly to the clouds on her shadow tech stilts. "You are so fast, sister," Bird said, lounging on the ground, searching through the grass for more interesting stones and other bits with which to fashion new decorations. "I can barely keep up with you, even in flight." Cat laughed. "I feel at home running along the ground. I enjoy it." "I will try that," Walker said. Cat opened the latest container of food given to her by the angels. They ate, taking turns dipping their hands in and pulling out succulent bits of steaming food. Bird wanted the last piece. Cat pulled the piece out of the container and gave it to her, but then put it back. "I must save a piece of food for Wheel." "Why? She is not coming out of the depths. No backsies, Cat," Bird said. "No what? What is a backsie?" "No give-backs. I made the word up." "I would like the last piece of food." "That's a funny word. I will remember it. But I'm sorry, sister. This piece is for Wheel." Bird relented and wiped her hands on her green tunic, leaving 2 saucy streaks. "So how long are we to stay here, sister?" "I have traveled far. There is much to see beyond these forlorn ruins. In the direction of the setting sun, I discovered a great body of water going out to the end of the world, where the sun goes to take its rest. I want to cross it, to discover what is on the other side, but it's a long trip, and I want my sisters with me when I do it." "What if there's nothing where the sun sets but more water?" Cat asked. "Then I will know that." Walker spoke up. "I too wish to branch out and explore farther. There is indeed so much to see. I have a belief that the sun does not live in the water, but rather in a shrine over the mountains. I wish to see it for myself. The other day I ventured far in the direction of the rising sun to locate this shrine. I found more mountains there, much cooler, covered with white frozen powder." Cat thought a moment. "I think the Autocon called that snow." "Snow. There is much snow in the direction of the rising sun, though after walking a day and enduring the snow's bite, I came across smaller mountains with no snow and many trees of delicious colors I cannot describe. You are the giver of names, Cat, not I. I did not locate the sun shrine as I had hoped, but I did discover what I believe is a habitation, a living habitation, not a ruin like this one. Many people are there. I saw vehicles cavorting in the skies above the clouds. Not the sisters' giant white ships we hide from. These were smaller and sleeker, flown with deft hands, higher and faster than even bird can fly. I saw lights in the habitation like the stars. I smelled food being prepared. My mouth watered smelling it. I thought I heard people talking. I wanted to let the people see me, to welcome me." Walker closed her eyes and put her hands to her heart. "I longed for it, sisters." "You would not be welcome. We are considered the enemy in this place," Cat said. "Why are we the enemy? We have done nothing." "The Autocon says black hats are the enemy here. We are not black hats. We are victims of the black hats. Perhaps they would welcome us for that. Perhaps they can tell us where the city of love may be found. I want to go to the city." Cat shook her head. "The gods told me to stay here. I shall do so until they appear." Walker looked around and hugged herself. "But this place is not safe for us, Cat, becoming less so by the day. It is cursed. Please hear me. Several nights ago, I awoke. I did not feel well. It was a strange sensation. I saw lights and heard strange sounds. I thought I heard screaming. Walker pointed at the ominous doors built into the hillside. Coming from there. Perhaps you imagined it, Bird offered, hopefully. No, Walker continued. I have more to tell. Later, I again awoke. This time my body was in agony. I rose, certain I was in my death throes. There was much light outside the windows, and I peered out. I saw great lines of light traveling along the ground, going off in many directions. The light was like the moon, only it was in the ground. Blue light? Kat asked. Yes, let me show you. Walker swiveled her head about, looking for a flat bit of ground. She held out her hand, breathed deep, and summoned her shadow tech from within, the great black fountain of it flowing from her hand. She formed it into a long spike. Using the spike, she drew a picture on the ground. The light started at the door. Walker scratched a circle into the ground, representing the door. She drew a series of concentric lines radiating away from the circle. This is what I saw. All that is unsettled and unclean comes from those doors. There were lines here and here, all glowing in the living earth. And I saw the statues, the ones right over there, moving, just as we move. They walked among the ruins. I felt they were looking for us, looking to take us to their place of death and sacrifice us. I returned within the centrals. I wished to die with my sisters. Walker paused a moment, shuddering. Then the sun came up. I awoke, and all was as normal. No lights, no spirits. Why didn't you tell us of this sooner? Kat asked. Walker allowed her Shadowtech spike to fall apart into cinders. Because I know you enjoy this place. I do not wish to ruin it for you. Now, will you not leave with me, escape the evil that will certainly overtake us? Kat thought about it. The gods said to stay here, and that is what I will do until they come for me. Above the ground is safe. That evening, as they disrobed and went to bed, Kat was unsettled. Walker's words stayed with her. The evil here will certainly overtake us. The angel had promised her that the ruins above ground were safe, and while below ground was dangerous. Kat watched her sisters sleep. She would not allow anything to happen to them. Touching them both on the face, Kat dressed and sped out of the ruins to the waiting doors built into the ground. The angels had warned her. She had no intention of ever going down there again. Yet there she was, going down into the depths to face whatever was there, for her sisters. It occurred to her as she approached the doors up the hillside. Could what she felt for her sisters, the kinship, the laughter, the daily discoveries, the sharing of their innermost thoughts, the care, was that love? The doors were shut and dark. Heart beating, she gripped the handles and threw them open. Stairs going down into the murderous dark. No sign of Wheel, no sign of the ghost she had seen before. It had been days since Wheel disappeared into the dark. She must be dead, she must be. The Black Hat's mission had cost Wheel her life. Before it had even begun, Wheel should have been up in the sunlight, discovering herself with her sisters. Yet she couldn't get the Shade Church and the Black Hats out of her heart. Kat had done it. Bird and Walker had done it. Why couldn't Wheel? Summoning her courage, Kat went down, claws at the ready. Her Shadowtech felt solid and deadly. Her tail flicked, ready to strike. She could defend herself, should she have to. She reached the bottom, staring into the darkened archway, seeing nothing. She listened. Silence. Wheel! She called out, her voice vanishing into the dark. No reply. Listening to the surging of her own heart, she clattered in, bumping into the bits of junk lying on the floor. Occasionally, her claws would spark, touching off a bluish bit of light. Something tugged at her clothes on her scar side. She spun and slashed with her claws. Clang! A protruding piece of stone shattered under her claws, falling to the ground in dust. She continued on. Feeling her way in, she felt the ground with her hands and probed about with her tail. Her tail bumped into something tall and thin sticking up from the floor. She had reached the column of stone. This was it. She remembered seeing a column of stone previously, near to where the ghost had lain. Before her, a plume of blue light appeared. Didn't seem to be real to her at first, the light in this lightless place, but certain enough, a smoky column of light bloomed before her, twisting, moving like the clouds moved across the sky. She thought she caught a glimpse of people moving about in the light. Many people. She had no idea who they might be. A figure came into focus, floating in the blue light. She saw a slender form, and she saw metal as well, studded with dots of light. The metal reminded her of the atmosphere suit, and its memory repulsed her. She couldn't see the figure's face. It was obscured by the light. She was confused. Light brought things into clarity, yet in this case, light obscured and hid detail. "You're here," the figure said in a surprisingly cheerful voice. "I was hoping you would come. Wheel told me all about you." Kat held onto the column. She wanted to flee, to be away. She had never been so terrified, but she managed to calm herself and stay where she was. "I have your man, the one you've been waiting for. He's here. Wheel wanted him, but he preferred you. I'll take you to him. Come, he's not far." "The man?" Kat asked. "Are you the Shadow Tech goddess?" "No." "Are you a god?" Of course I am. We are pleased with you. Come, he's waiting." Kat held fast. "But why did you ask the angels to tell me to remain above the ground? They said below the ground was dangerous." "They erred. There is nothing to be afraid of here in the depths. You're so powerful with your shadow tech. Come, he will not wait much longer. If you make him wait, he'll abandon you and select your friend, the one with the blue hair. You wouldn't want that, would you? Abandon her and go to Walker? That was one of her many fears, that Walker would take the man. Walker was bigger than she, stronger than she, prettier than she. Why wouldn't he prefer Walker to Kat? She tentatively stepped forward to go to the figure. The figure in the blue light held its hand out, a soft, thin hand. Its body bobbed in excitement. "Yes, come to me." Kat returned to where she had been and held onto the column. "If you are a god, then show me the color of mercy. Then I will believe you."
"No time for that, child. Come."
"Show me the color of mercy." The figure floated in the blue light. It raised its hands, one soft and delicate, the other metal, like the atmosphere suit. The blue light changed to a darker blue, an angrier blue. "You cannot, can you? You are not the gods," Kat said. She saw the figure's face for the first time, part flesh, part metal, diabolical eyes fixed on her. Its voice changed from a pleasant note to an evil drone. "Pleasure in killing you, you stinking, worthless little cow. I would have made it quick for you, but now. The figure lunged and seemed to be stopped by some sort of barrier. The blue light faded. The figure faded with it. "I have a nice present I wish to give you. Soon. Very soon." The blue light and the figure were gone. Kat's heart pounded. It hadn't known what the color of mercy was, therefore there was no mercy in it. She prayed to the angels for her deliverance, as no doubt death would have awaited her had she gone to the thing in the light. Wheel must also have encountered the creature. Had it taken her, killed her? She wanted nothing more to do with underground. She turned to make her way back to the surface. She and her sisters would have to leave, to strike out and discover another place to reside. This place was too evil for them to remain. When they got to the place they were going, wherever that was, she hoped the gods would tell the man. She froze. Noise. Kat heard scraping in the dark. She couldn't pinpoint where it came from. It seemed to be everywhere. She felt infernal eyes upon her. Kat again felt a welling of fear form deep within her. The ghost is near. It spoke. Did you see it? The demon? It took your companion. It offered her power and riches, and she accepted. I assumed it would take you too. It said it was a god, and it was not a god, Kat replied. More scraping, nearer this time. She thought she saw a hint of a bent passing outline and a glint of a weapon being dragged behind. Who are you? Came a breathless, dead voice. She managed to speak. I am Kat. Who are you? I am all that is left of Gwendolyn, Lady Apprentice, murdered by the demon, just as you almost were. The demon took my body and wears it, defiling my flesh. I see the demon even now laughing at me with my own face. Why are you here? The gods told me to be here. Silence. Finally, the gods? More silence. Why? What are you asking me? I do not understand. Why have you been picked? You look like a black hat to me. You and your friends, I have watched you. We are not black hats, Kat replied. I have come here to protect my sisters and make this place safe. And is that all? To protect the man when he comes. The man. The man wearing the magnificent garments. The gods promised him to me. I have washed for him, eaten food for him, taught myself for him. For the man and my sisters, I have come here in the dark. For love, I have come here. The man was mine. My love. But I am dead now. Killed by the demon in the blue light, just as it wanted to kill you. In other places, I carry on. I see them here, where the universes meet. I see other, still living versions of myself within him. You live. I am dead. I must accept that. I will go to other places where he needs me still. In the blackness, Kat saw the weary form of the ghost approach, a glinting of sunken eyes and a flashing of lipless teeth. Know this. After the demon killed me and stole my flesh, it went to an accursed place and began weaving itself a web of nightmares. This web will be your undoing one day. You will have to go there and face it. That is the role of my man, to face the arcane. In death I have come to know this. If you wish to stand at his side, you will have to face it as well. You will most likely be killed by it if you face it again. Farewell. The ghost walked away into the dark, gone to other places. And on that pleasant note, we conclude Chapter 5, The Ghost. Very short chapter, as I promised. In previous books, and this is book 12 in the League of Elder series, Gwendolyn Apprentice is the usual heroine. She appears in quite a few books, and she's also known by an extraplanar name known as the Merton. She is the Merton. She's the the one who most often appears. After several books, Gwen is kind of a homebody. She's kind of a stodgy sort of lady. There's a lot of artwork I've had commissioned for her, and some fool out there stole her picture and put it in a vampire website and with the caption Lady Vampire. And I have to laugh because Gwen, Lady Gwendolyn Apprentice, is probably the least vampire-ish of all my characters. She's straight-laced by the book, very kind of stuffy. She's a homebody, very smart, very intelligent, very brave as well, but she's not really an adventurer. She's more of she likes to be at home. Upright and straight-laced as you can get. In this book, she is a ghost. She is dead. And Kat just encountered her. And a creepy demon in blue light. That is the end of Chapter 5, The Ghost. Next chapter, the penultimate one before we finish Part 1, Chapter 6, Wheel is next. Oh boy. So we'll be seeing Wheel again after she apparently comes from wherever she's been. So it's 5:07 in the morning. I'm going to go to bed. This is Ren Presents. I'm your host, Ren. Peace out.